Hello. Today we are reviewing the movie Darling from 2015. Not the 2014 one, not the 2024 one, not the 1965 one, the 2015 one. So listen for our review.
Is this a metal thing?
Yes.
Little taste.
David, what is this?
It's pretty thick.
Break.
I have to kill a lot of people. Just tell me what you want me to fuck.
I have big tits and a tiny vagina.
Oil me up, Daddy.
I can't believe that Bryce prefers big tits. Mistletoe alert. This is backcountry.
This guy was a real jerk.
How long can Hugo being pregnant?
Chomp, 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 chomp.
Oh, she's such a dick, David.
Okay, everybody, put on your corpse handling gloves.
Ew.
Hoodie Picasso.
Horror.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk. I'm Sydney Lee, a proper lady. And with me are my lovely co-hosts, Bryce Hansen and not Max Allen. Today we have Jordyn. Hello, Jordyn.
Hello.
Hello.
Max's replacement.
I'm not coming for you, Max.
He's just skipped one too many times, and I'm just sick of it.
Yeah, Bryce texted us last night and was like, "Oh, I'm asking Jordyn to be on the pod tomorrow." And Max I said, "Oh, who's that?" And Max just goes, "My replacement," like immediately. Bryce was like, no.
Yeah, Jordyn's been on. I just looked up the episodes that she was on. She was on the Talk to Me episode and the
Boogeyman.
Boogeyman. Yeah.
I do
episode.
remember the Talk to Me episode. I remember that because that's when David stopped watching the movies.
Right.
Yeah.
Stop watching horror movies.
The movies for the pod. Yeah, that's
Right.
what I mean. Not movies in general. Of course, we are a silly, goofy, but very serious horror movie review podcast. New theatrical releases always get priority. Not this week. But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible. Make sure you rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. Full video available on YouTube. Don't be a square. Make sure to share. Also, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/horror movie talk, the equivalent of the adult section at your video rental store. We have some new patrons. We'll thank them later. I'm happy about that. I finally canceled my membership to our podcast that I've been paying for
How dare you?
for like a year and a half. I don't know why.
Why haven't you I thought you said you canceled that a year ago.
No, Max canceled his and I just like never did. And then I kept getting the notification from Patreon, like for Bank of America. And I was like, what am I doing?
You know, Sydney, we appreciate your support.
Just the money going right back to us, to me,
Right.
to us, to me, to us. It's ridiculous.
You know, you could just go back and refund yourself. I don't know if you can how far back you can refund, but
literally
couple
10
months
months. It's been like 10 months of being on the pod. So
yeah, well, you know, we appreciate your support.
yay, thank you. And of course, we're going to do horror movie horrors later on, so we won't have any more voicemails. So be sure to call our voicemail line 682-253-4468 and leave us some more so we can do more in a later episode. All right. We've got a great show today. We'll be reviewing Darling from 2015. We'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. Later, like I said, we'll be doing horror movie horrors, which is my fave. Can't wait to hear from y'all. All right, so Darling can be found on Tubi. I don't know about you guys, but the ads were very poorly placed while I was watching this. I was like, they would just like insert in the middle of a scene, and that happens on Tubi. I get it, but it was really frustrating with this one. I don't know why. And they were really short because the movie's only like an hour and 18 minutes. So it was like every ad was like 10 seconds long. And I'm like, can't we just have like a bunch of ads at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, it did seem a little excessive for the length of the movie.
Yeah. It was
Totally
too
agree.
many. Yeah. Too many breaks.
Also, actually, Bryce and I used a service we watched together.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And so the ads were probably a little different, and it was also excessive.
What
but
did you use?
Lots of interruptions.
Well, we watched it on Prime Video, but I think it was technically freebie through Prime Video.
Okay.
And then I used was it Teleparty to be able to sync it between us.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we talk shit the whole time.
Yeah, we didn't pay attention to the movie at all. You're going to be carrying this one, Sydney. No. Yeah. So what was going on was like I've started doing my 31 horror movies in October challenge. That's what the kids call them nowadays when you do anything to get attention. And I started posting shorts, and then Jordyn commented on Instagram one like, we need to watch movies. So this was the first one. And of course, I'm going to exploit all of my friends to be on my podcast, for content, because that's how I get my life's worth.
Well, Bryce, I don't know if you recall, but your little Survivor pitch,
Yeah.
you mentioned how I always ditched you to go to a movie when we were in the same town.
That's true.
And you were questioning whether we were actually friends or if...
Right.
And so I was like, Bryce, we got to watch a movie. And it worked out. It was cool. We should do it more often.
I see how it is. All right. Yeah, my insecurity has prompted vigorous response. Yeah, so with Sydney... Jordyn really dodged a bullet. That I invited her when we had an all company meeting at Obility where we used to work. I was like, "Oh, I've got some coworkers that listen to the podcast. We should go see a movie." And I invited her, and everyone kind of dropped out, and they're like, "Yeah, I can't do it." The movie ended up being Skinamarink.
Oh my
So
God.
that was the biggest bullet dodged in my entire life. I can't imagine watching that movie with anyone. And then, then we went to Denver recently, and I got
COVID. Couldn't even go.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, but I knew what it really was. She just didn't like me, and she didn't want to.
Right.
Dodging
Bryce.
those invites.
Yeah, no one likes you, Bryce, actually. You have no
So
friends.
yeah, open invitation, Jordyn. If you want to, I'll be watching a horror movie every day. So plenty of opportunities to do a teleparty, I guess.
Yeah,
Maybe.
we're unemployed. It's a great time to watch horror movies.
Especially now it's October, so it's this is literally the perfect time to watch scary movies. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. That was actually why we volunteered to be laid off.
Right. It's exactly.
We have movies to watch.
October. I get a severance during October. Okay.
Valid. Honestly, I would be unemployed to watch movies. I wish. This is why people need to subscribe to our Patreon, because we could all just have this as our job, and then we would put in so much more effort. Not that we don't put in effort now, we do, but we would put in so much more.
Sydney, do not get me started on seizing the means of production, okay? That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, Jordyn mentioned in her job interview that she was far right of communism. So
No. I said I'm to the left of your average communist, and they still hired me. So hopefully they don't find this podcast.
Far right of communism. That's funny.
It's far left. I meant.
Yeah.
I misspoke.
Anarchy. I feel you. Okay. We don't get political on this podcast. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Let's get into the movie. So the synopsis it was hard to write a synopsis for this, honestly. A woman called Darling is hired to house sit at a fancy old big haunted house in the middle of New York City. As she spends her days alone, she figures out the house's ghostly past and slowly succumbs to the madness of the houses and her own lore. Okay. So my review is I first watched this movie back in high school and I thought it was the epitome of slow burn, creepy woman goes insane horror films. As I have a lot more horror movie experience now and film experience in general, I realized that this is basically a ripoff of Repulsion 1965. This isn't to say it's a bad movie by any means. The many jump cuts and jump scares keep you on your toes, but it could be argued that there are too many of these quick scenes, and there is an overall eerie feeling that is hard to shake once you finish. But it's not the best movie of a woman going insane. There are plenty of those, horror or not, that execute the trope a lot better than this one did. The first act is boring as all hell, but the second and third ramp up the action just a little bit, and the main actress, Lauren Ashely Carter, is a very good Kristen Stewart type. Contrary to how I sound, I do enjoy this film, just not as much as I did when I was 16, and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. What about you guys?
Yeah, I did not enjoy it, to be honest. Yeah, it is very much influenced by Repulsion. Repulsion's a much better movie,
yes.
More cohesive. I felt like this was Wednesday Addams' student film in film school. It's very much like an art film. Feels pretty low production and a lot of editing that's meant to have impact, but quickly loses impact over time. It just didn't do that much for me, and there wasn't really much going on. It's mostly this woman wandering around and looking at the camera or like getting these jump cuts, and you kind of get like, okay, she's had some kind of trauma. House is spooky, I guess, but the same way that like The Shining doesn't necessarily communicate super well that the hotel is the cause of Jack's insanity. This one is like, it could be anything. It could be that she's just insane already. And I think that they kind of allude to that, because I think in the end, well, I guess I won't spoil it, but there were some like good scenes in it, but it just didn't hold my attention. This is another one that I'd say like this could work as a short film, like a really tight, well edited short film, but as a feature length thing, there just wasn't enough. I mean, at least add some more dialogue or something. So I'll give it like a 2 out of 10 for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel very similarly. Also, why I just get a little frustrated, I think, when modern movies are trying to mimic Polanski a little bit. Like, I don't know. I feel like there are better folks to model your art after or be inspired by. And I get a little weirded out, not to be overly political, but the monochrome. Like, the monochrome was, we'll get into that later. But yeah, I guess I'd give it probably a 2. Just kind of boring. Would have loved to see a little more either dialogue or context on the why this main character was either slipping into madness or came onto the scene a little kooky. Yeah, I'll wrap it up there. I'd say 2 or 3. But with that being said, it was decent way to spend the Friday evening.
And it's not too long, so it's not like
Right.
you're watching like a crappy movie for 2.5 hours or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think obviously Polanski sucks, but like he's a terrible person. But like he did make really good, like Rosemary's Baby. Like we can't deny that is one of the horror movies of all time. Like that is like
totally
top tier. I just watched Repulsion for the first time a couple weeks ago, and I was like, wow, like this is really, really good. It's been on my list for a long time. And I remember like this movie, I think I watched it when it came out, so I was 16. And I just like, when you're a teenager, like kind of stepping into like this horror scene, and like I hadn't really seen many, and I was like on Tumblr and like trying to find all these like niche things. Like I just really remembered like absolutely loving this film, and it was really jarring to rewatch it 10 years later and be like, wow, I had pretty bad taste. Like I still didn't hate it. Like I still gave it a 6, but like I'm like I think I knew kind of what I liked about it. Like this shot behind me, loved it. Like there are good shots in this movie, like singular shots, like very, very good. But like, yeah, I agree with both your criticisms of like there needed to be more context. Like you're kind of just left guessing, and not in a good way. Like there are movies that leave you with questions on purpose, like and those are the good movies. Like this isn't a horror movie, but like Challengers came out this year, the Zendaya tennis movie, and at the end you're kind of left with like, wait, what happened here? And that's the beauty of that movie, is like, yeah, you're supposed to kind of create your own like what goes on in this, and like, but that's a very well executed, well made, very cohesive storyline kind of movie. And this one is like, okay, if you're going to give us a non-cohesive storyline where you're left guessing, then you need a little bit more context for that. Like you can't just be like, okay, so she's crazy. Like people aren't just fucking crazy. Like you need an explanation to that. Is it the devil? I don't know.
My explanation is, sometimes women just get hysterical, and it's pretty normal. You have to, sometimes they got to go to the loony bin where they belong. After that,
Bryce, do not piss me off.
This is going to be the same thing as when we had David. It's my goal is just to trigger people to get a response. No, yeah, there's kind of like a weird middle ground. It's kind of like the uncanny valley with surreal uncertainty and like narrative cohesiveness, to where this one sits in a weird rut. Like you could have gone further into David Lynch territory and had it more surreal and like had just weird dream sequences and stuff, or you could have made it to where everything's pretty much explained by the ending, where you're like, oh, that's what this story's about. It's about this event that I just had explained to me. And it kind of does neither very well. It kind of like can't pick a lane. And so that's where it falls flat for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Lynch, because there were a lot of moments where I was like, oh, this feels a little David Lynchy, how it had those stop gaps. Totally hear ya.
Yeah, it's like if you're watching like Lost Highway, like there's a lot of different interpretations that you could take from what is going on, but then once you get to the end, you're kind of like, okay, I understand what happened in this, kind of. But like Lynch is such a singular storyteller that it is so hard to be like, I honestly hate when other filmmakers try to emulate him, because I'm like, he is just one of a kind and he is one of the greats, and it's just like, don't fucking try. Like if you're like, don't even like. And I agree, there might have been like a little bit of inspiration from Lynch here, but like it's just Lynch is like my favorite director of all time, so I'm like, don't even try. Like, get out of here. Like, get this, whoever this guy is, he hasn't really made any other films that I've seen at all. Like, I don't know what any of them
This was directed by a guy?
Yes.
Oh.
Which makes it worse.
Yeah,
like,
I'm surprised.
I was surprised too, because like it if this was directed by a woman, I feel like things could have gone differently. Like,
absolutely agree.
Like there would have been more context. We would have gotten a little bit of explanation. We would have gotten like probably what we needed for things to make narrative sense, but
character depth.
Yes. Yeah. And it just wasn't there. We got more depth for the one fucking guy that was in this movie.
Yes.
For no reason, too. Like, he was very inconsequential.
Solid critique. Yeah, we got more background on the one other guy that was a character in the film, and it's like, I know nothing about this main character. I want to know more.
I know. It could have been a lot more interesting than it was. I was between picking two movies for this episode. It was this one and another one. Oh, I forget. I Am a Ghost, or I think it's called I Am a Ghost. But I Am a Ghost is not streaming anywhere, and I didn't want to make people pirate it. So I didn't choose that. But I Am a Ghost is a lot better. And I'm pretty sure it's directed by a woman and it's about a woman. So love that. But all right, we should probably just get into spoilers so we can rip on this movie more. But first, if you're listening to these commercials, you should know you don't have to. Go to our Patreon at patreon.com/horrormovietalk. You know, it's just so much fun over there. And we have so many ads on YouTube, and we have so many ads on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever you listen to the podcast on. So if you go to Patreon, you don't have to listen to those ads.
Yeah, I love that you're framing it as us complaining about the ads. Like, oh, there's just so many guys. Oh, man. It's like, what can you do? Well, I mean, you can give us money, I guess.
And it's... I mean, you could save the grief of trying to wait for like a 50-second ad or skipping through it and just go to and we upload the episodes early on Patreon if you go to our $6.66 tier. So that's also fun. So you don't have to wait till Wednesday.
You guys just sold me. I'm signing up.
Yeah, you should. It's got all the bonus. We got hundreds and hundreds of pieces of bonus content.
I in college I worked at like a cold calling center where you call people, and so I'm pretty good at selling.
That's my marketing roots, baby. Start B2B lead generation. Terrible.
Yeah, awful. I made $10,000 for the school though, so you know, here we are. You know, woohoo. We didn't make commission though, so it didn't matter. But also don't forget about our shop. Go buy on our website, horrormovietalk.com. Go buy a hat. You can get a hat. You can get sweatshirt. You can get.
Go buy hat.
Go buy hat. Whatever. Suki, can you please stop? She's wrecking my headphones right now. Also, don't forget to check out our resident artist, Dustin Goebel. We love him so much. He does so much for us, and we love it. Our beautiful artwork on this episode was drawn by him. He takes commissions from fans, so contact him at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram and make your artistic dreams come true, and tell him that we sent you. And once again, our voicemail line is 682-253-4468. Call in, leave us a voicemail. Be as creepy as you want, because I know you want to be.
Oh, Jesus, don't say that.
It already happens. I might as well sign off on it. No, we love you guys. Thanks again for listening. Let's get into spoilers. Ow, you bitch. I'm fighting with my cat right now. She just bit me. God damn.
You have 2 pages of notes on this nothing burger movie. Like, how did you just write down every single shot?
Yeah, that's what I do. Like, the thing is if we're watching a movie at home, like if we don't have to go to the theater, I just have my phone and I'm ripping through every single scene. But yeah, I literally wrote down every single scene. I do this for every movie. You know that.
Yeah, I'm so lazy with my notes now. I'm literally like, write down 2 things of like, oh, here's a stream of consciousness thought that I had. I'll write that down.
I love a thorough queen, Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote down 2 things.
What does it say?
The Ring and Slips. We can talk more about Slips.
Slips, Slips.
Okay.
Okay. No, that's fair. There was a slip in this movie. So it takes place in New York, and there's 6 chapters in this movie that don't mean anything, and that pisses me off so bad. Like, I like a movie that does chapters. I like a movie that puts your name in there, and like The Substance that we just did a couple weeks ago. Like, they had Sue, and then they had Elizabeth, and it's like, yeah, because those parts of the movie focused on those people, and that made narrative fucking sense. Like,
yeah, the only one that was notable was chapter 3, Thrills, because they show a neon sign that says Thrills.
yeah, like,
And that's it.
yeah. So the chapters,
Everything else, like the chapters, were basically the same.
yeah. So chapter 1 was her, and it's supposed to be about the main character. She does nothing in the entire chapter. Chapter 2, Invocation, it just means that she sees a wood carving of an invocation, and she doesn't do anything about it. Chapter 3, Thrills, we do see the chapter 3, Thrills, made sense. That was the only, I agree with that. Chapter 4, Demon, was very short. We didn't see a demon. Chapter 5, Inferno, same thing happened in chapter 4 and chapter 5. And then chapter 6,
The Caretaker.
it was just the end of the movie. So it's just like, didn't. And there's only 3 acts. Like, most movies are 3 acts. That's how you make movies. So it's like, you don't need 6 chapters to split up. And again, it's only a 78-minute movie. So it's like, you don't need chapters. They could have done away with the chapters, but I mean, it wouldn't really make a difference, I guess.
I feel like the chapters are how they posited that maybe this is a demon. Maybe there's some sort of spiritual thing going on here, because I wouldn't have really picked up on the demon part without them putting that word across the screen. I don't know.
Yeah. It could also have to do with like she's actually a demon, or she has the devil in her. I don't.
Okay, so
yeah,
I'll just have some questions because I found it hard to pay attention to this movie.
That's fair.
And also I was talking shit about it with Jordyn the entire time via text.
Great.
So the first time, when's the first time that we see the upside down cross necklace?
In chapter 1, she's unpacking, and it's in one of the drawers that she's putting her clothes in.
Okay, so she finds it. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
So she finds the upside down crucifix necklace and is like, oh, fire. And then just starts wearing it because...
She doesn't wear it. She like holds it, and she kind of has this weird like look on her face, and then she doesn't put it on. She just like looks at it for a long time. But apparently she takes it with her when she goes grocery shopping, but you don't see her take it. And then that's when she that's like the funniest scene in the movie, where she goes grocery shopping, and then she like apparently she drops the necklace or something, and the guy Henry like taps her on the shoulder, is like, hey, you dropped this, and she's like this. Like, why is she so like, she's so scared? And it's like, she just dropped the fucking necklace. Like he's just trying to be nice and be like, hey, you dropped this. Like, that's all he did. He didn't do anything horrible. But that's like, I guess, where it's trying to emulate Repulsion. But in that movie, it's very clear like that she is afraid of men. And
Right.
there are a lot of steps that the movie takes to hammer that home.
Yeah.
This one, you have no idea. You have no idea who she is. She's just in this house. She's walking around. She's looking at shit. She's kind of paranoid, but you don't really get that vibe. And then she sees this guy, and she acts like she just saw like the, I don't know.
So the way I interpret that is like, he reminds her of the person that sexually abused her, I guess. I mean, that's like the crux of the story, isn't it? That like, he is, you know, evoking these memories in her that I assume she's wanting to shut down. Am I wrong with that?
No, I would say that's accurate, especially given the reveal at the end with the driver's license.
Yeah.
She's seeing him as her abuser.
Yeah, and that that reveal was interesting to me because it's like when she's killing Henry, she's like, you know what you did to me, or like something like that. And then you're kind of like, okay. And then the driver's license thing happens, and it's the reference that she mentioned to the lady who owns the house. And then when the lady calls, she's like, I know what you did. You never worked for this guy. And then Darling is like, well, he said that I'm okay now. He said that I'm better. So I thought like maybe she was in a mental institution or like had a psychiatrist that said she was crazy or something. But like I think the implication was there was a sexual assault, but at the same time, you don't get hard evidence for that either. So I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it just has those quick flashes of like, you know, I think it shows kind of her being frightened, and I thought it showed the guy's face in some of those flashes too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's implied that there's some kind of abuse that happened, and she probably had a mental break because of it, and she was institutionalized and then let go. And so the confusing part for me is like, okay, so the bulk of the story is her finally going after this guy that picked up her necklace and thinking it's this guy that did her wrong. And as she's like killing him, she looks at his ID and it's the name of the person that harmed her. And then later the name changes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Jordyn, remind me, because you caught it and I didn't, was like, the name changed to the name of the doctor? Was that right?
James Abbott, her, like the referral or whatever from the original lady that she's house sitting for.
Yeah.
She mentioned that lady mentions the Abbott name, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so she used him as a reference, and he was supposedly her doctor? But he didn't know her?
Yeah.
Well, he said that she didn't work for him. That's
okay.
what he said. But like, we don't have it from him. We have it from the lady. So it's confusing. And also, it was weird that she knew Henry's full name. Because he never told it to her. I don't think. Because she says Henry Sullivan when she's killing him.
He wasn't Henry Sullivan, though.
Right. It was this guy named James Abbott. So she gets up while they're talking at the table, and she calls him Henry, and he kind of pauses a little bit, or like she says something very like flippant, like you know what you did, Henry, and he's like, but it just keeps going. Like he doesn't really call it out or be like, wait, what'd you call me? That's not my name. They never exchanged names. So she looks at the ID later and it says James Abbott. It changes from Henry whatever to James Abbott. And that's the reveal, I thought.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't get that, but good on you, because I was so confused. And that also makes more sense when she's on the phone with the lady and she's like, I saw Henry walking around the street. And the lady's like, wait, who? What are you talking about? Like, what did you do? Because that's not what the lady's talking about. Because she's like, I know what you did, but it's just like, oh, you lied about your references. Like,
Bingo.
That's all she's implying. And like, Darling is like, oh yeah, I killed someone. Like, and she's like, wait, what do you mean? But hard pivot. I really thought she reminded me of Kristen Stewart in the first like act because of the awkwardness, like the way like Kristen Stewart acts in Twilight. Like they kind of reminded me of that in this. I don't know.
Bryce, are you going to say what she reminded us of?
Yeah, I'm pulling a blank on her name right
Jenna
now.
Ortega.
Jenna Ortega. Yeah, she looks exactly like Jenna Ortega.
Oh, the eyes. Yeah.
Shockingly like Jenna Ortega. I was like, I couldn't watch this movie and not think of Wednesday. I was like, all right, so Wednesday's going mad, and she keeps looking in the camera. It's like,
Especially
okay,
her
now
little
she's-
outfit.
Yeah,
Yes.
now she's gonna start dancing. Yeah, it's very, very much looks like Jenna Ortega to me. I didn't catch any Kristen Stewart vibes
I don't know.
personally.
I get what you mean. Kind of aloof, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, just like weird and like being like,
Floating a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Also, like, this movie is supposed to be like set in the 60s, but there are like cars that aren't 60s cars, and she walks into a coffee shop at one point, and it says like on the window like all the credit cards they take. So that wouldn't be happening in the 60s. Like there wouldn't be stickers of like Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. And it's very quick, but I caught that. And it's interesting because it's like there's that Ty West movie I made you guys watch. What is it called? It's the one that's like made in 2009 or something, and it looked like it was in the 70s with Greta Gerwig in it.
Oh, The House of the Devil?
The House of the Devil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Good call.
Yeah. And then there's The Love Witch from 2016, which also has this like 70s vibe to it, but it's made in 2015. And like those types of movies, like I think those two execute it really well, where it's like, oh, this could be made like back then, and I wouldn't even have like blinked an eye, but it is a modern movie. This one is a very clearly a movie that was made in the 2000s, but like just because it's black and white, we're supposed to think that it's not. Like, no, the black and white is way too clear. Like you're using
Well, no, it was,
like
obviously it was back in black and white times before the world had color.
right, exactly.
No, I think that's a good point. Actually, at one point, I messaged Bryce and I was like, we haven't established the year yet. Because I was kind of wondering, like, is this going to be like a It Follows thing? Remember It Follows? Like, you couldn't tell what time that was. Isn't that the movie where they had like the cell phone that looked like a shell, and it was just like very elusive on what time period it is in? We couldn't tell if it was in the past or in the future. And so I was kind of wondering if that was going to be a similar situation here. Like maybe she's just dressing old timey and she's house sitting for someone that, because there weren't a lot of indications that in that household with the decor, it was very kind of brutalist, like not a lot of.
I mean, it's literally like just the telephone. I feel like in a movie like this where you have limited budget, just don't make a period movie if you don't have the budget to rent a bunch of period appropriate cars and have an establishing shot showing a road with like, Belvedere's driving down this road or something.
Yeah, and the Twin Towers weren't in it. So.
Oh, really? I didn't even notice.
Yeah, there's a bunch of shots of New York, and I was just like, where's the Twin Tower? And then I was like, nope, it's not there. So this is very clearly modern. Like it's
Wow. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that either.
Yeah, but I agree with the It Follows point. But with that, It Follows is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. That one does it so well, like the ambiguity of it, because every car is vintage. Like every car is from the 50s, 60s, 70s. But then you have that weird like shell phone thing that like is very clearly a screen, but they're always watching old movies on their like TV that looks very 90s. Like the TV is like it's a boxy TV, like one that I had when I was a kid. And that one, like the ambiguity works for it because it's such an interesting and like, what's the word? Like unique story. Like this is not a unique story. This has been done a million times, and there's no point in setting it in any sort of time period or putting it somewhere. Like you can just like the entire movie. I'm like, is this supposed to be in the 60s? Because it's not really an homage to anything. Like you're not really like if it's an homage to Repulsion, like put something in there that like is like shows that you're I don't know.
Yeah, I wanted it to be that sort of It Follows thing. I'm like, okay, that might be a redeeming factor here. Like, if there's some sort of reveal where it's like actually 2024 or whatever, and this lady is just, that would have given me more clarity on kind of her state of mind. And I don't know. I was hoping that something like that sort of twist would have came in.
I agree. I think it would have, like, there's just a lot of ambiguity that doesn't work for this movie. Like, it's, even if we had a clarity on what year it was, it might make it a better movie. Like, there's just, like, there are scenes that like creeped me out. There are scenes that are that are like eerie and weird. Like, the jump scare cuts, like that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's just not really a plot. Like, there's not really a plot.
Did you guys think of The Ring at all? Like the little flashes, like I felt like it reminded me of the video of The Ring. Like they were trying to emulate that a little bit. Because there were some like quick screen changes where you'd see something like really dark and kind of creepy. I wish it would have lasted just a little longer, because if you blinked, you wouldn't see it. So I was kind of thinking about that as well.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. That definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And I agree with, it could have been longer, because there were times where I would look away for a second and I would just hear like a really loud noise on the TV, and I would look and be like, what was that? I missed it. I'm not rewinding it. Like,
yeah. The other thing that like kind of shows the time period is just her hairstyle. It's a very 60s hairstyle. And I've got a image to
Son of a
demonstrate
bitch.
that.
Oh,
right
okay. That would be me.
Yeah, Jordyn sent this over to me while we were watching. She's like, this is the traumatic.
I said to Bryce, I was like, maybe I'll try to flip my hair out for the pod tomorrow.
awesome.
And then I told him about, in 4th grade, my mom curled my hair for my portrait, but she skipped the bottom layer. You need to look closely in that picture, because it's very like Dharma from Dharma and Greg. That bottom layer is just stick straight, just straight down. Like,
That's amazing.
so fun.
Sorry, I had to do that.
She's like, we
It's
just need the
fine.
front. We just need the front.
yeah,
You won't even
that's
see
it.
the back.
It will look good. I also had a bowl cut at one point, so maybe we'll do that on the next time I come on.
Yeah,
I think my worst haircut was, I think I had kind of a mullet, like I had a spiky hair and with like a long back, and that was actually my mom's favorite haircut of mine. And you know,
A mother's love is blind. That's all
Yeah.
I have to say about that.
You should bring it back, Bryce. Get that mullet back. It's back in
Should.
style. Everyone has mullets now. All the men have mullets.
I was gonna say, my teenager, she's kind of got a little mullet going on.
Mhm.
It's called, they call it a wolf cut or a shag now.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
I mean,
'cause-
literally, Sydney, that is your haircut. You
okay.
had kind of a wolf cut for a while.
I know.
It looks
it's growing. Thank
I
you.
love that she's like different. Actually, nowadays, it's the kids think it's pretty cool. A lot of people think it's cool to have a mullet.
Oh, well, I cut my hair really, really, really short, like in January, and that's why it's still very short. But my sides were shaved like down to the bone, and it was like really short on top, like it was like this, and it was like very short in the back. It was a boy haircut. I got a boy haircut, so yeah.
Sydney, you don't have to tell me. I'm in Missouri. I see this shit all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm just kidding. I love a mullet.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. It's not a mullet anymore, though. It's just short.
Well, I appreciate you reclaiming it. I'm just giving you shit.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm used to it. It's fine. I'm not offended. All right. What else do we have to talk about in this movie?
He punched her in the face.
He did punch her in the face.
That was jarring, and it's like, what took you so long?
I know he had gotten stabbed like 12, 20 times, like, and then he's like, okay, wait.
So she like seduces him to like get him. I mean, seduces.
She doesn't really seduce
him
really
at
try
all.
That hard. No, he
invites him over
to
murder him.
Yeah,
and I was like, I typed over to Jordyn. I was like, this is how horny men are. Like when she's like acting absolutely insane to him at the dinner, when she's like just like staring him down. He's like,
with those Wednesday Addams eyes, like very just.
Yeah, and he's like, so have you lived here long? It's like very innocuous, and is like, this is how much men are willing to look past to be like, maybe I get to have sex later, to the point where like she's stabbing him, and I was like, he should say like, oh, are you is this the kind of stuff you're into? Like that's the vibe that you get from him, and then eventually realizes like, oh, I'm getting murdered, and that's when he hits her.
Yeah,
killing me.
Yeah. And it's also funny when she follows him for honestly like every day for a while. Like she just stands outside of his work, and then she finally like gets herself dolled up and like waits for him, follows him into a bar, and he like goes, is this seat taken? They're talking for a minute. She also has this thing where like these whispery voices are happening to her. We're not sure what that's about, if it's just mental illness or if it's the house influencing her, whatever the fuck. I don't know.
Do we ever see what the deal is with the hidden doorway? Does it ever reveal it?
No, we get another really scared look from her. I messaged Bryce and said, show it. Like I knew they weren't going to show it to us, and they didn't.
Yeah, it's that's the only thing I remember from this movie is I thought that's where it ended, is she opens the door and you don't see anything and she gets really scared. That is not where it ends. But that was the only thing I remembered. And I remember being scared of that, like of her reaction. Like it's like horrifying. But yeah, also when she's in when she's in the bar, she's like, excuse me for one moment. And he's like, where are you going? It's like, she's probably going to the fucking bathroom, dude. Like, what do you mean, where are you going? And then she goes to the bathroom that is 2 feet away from where they're sitting and screams as loud as she can. And then she comes out of the bathroom and he goes, are you okay? And she goes, yeah. What do you mean? It's like the whole bar just heard you screaming. Can't really hide that. That was good.
Yeah, what?
Yeah,
why do you ask?
She comes out and the entire bar is just looking at her like, fuck?
It was so good.
Whom among us hasn't been in that situation?
We've all done it. But yeah, there's that's the other main thing, plot point, red herring thing in this movie, where it's like when she's first exploring the house, she goes upstairs and there's a door at the end of a weird hallway that makes no sense, that she can't open, and she's really adamant on opening this, which is like, who cares if there's a locked door in the house that you're house sitting? Like that doesn't, obviously they don't want you to go in there. Like it's fine. It's, people have boundaries. Like, so when she calls, or the lady calls, she's like, hey, there's a door that's locked. Can I go in there? And she's like, you absolutely cannot go in there under any circumstances. And it's like, and then we get like this lore dump from the guy where he's like, yeah, I grew up around here, and they said that there was a guy who used to do rituals to conjure the devil. And so she eventually asks the woman if that's where it happened, and the woman is like, what are you talking, like, it's just weird, and it doesn't really amount to anything.
Yeah, and then I mean the most we get is she opens the door and has like a frightened look on her face, and I was like,
for about 20 seconds at least,
for about 20 seconds it lingers on it, and I was like, oh no, that's probably a bunch of shiplap in there. Just horrified by the decor.
linoleum over the original
Over the hardwood,
hardwoods.
yeah. Uh-oh. Did we lose Sydney?
Oh no.
Okay, she's back.
Shit, I froze. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. So that's pretty disappointing that they don't tie that in at all. But I assume like the lens I see this through is like it's just all a representation of her psychosis or just her descent into madness.
Yeah.
I mean, it could literally just be an empty room, like, and she's just freaking out because she's hallucinating something.
Or could it be where she was traumatized and why she was brought to the building in the first place to stalk Henry Winkler? Was it Winkler? Henry, a.k.a.
Henry Sullivan.
Zabbitt.
The Fonz. Hey.
Wait, what was the guy's last name?
Sullivan.
Sullivan. Okay.
That was good.
It's
That would
fine.
be hilarious if Henry Winkler was the guy in this movie. Just super nice and polite Henry Winkler.
But that thought entered my mind. Like, maybe that all happened there because James Abbott, she called him Dr. Abbott, or she said Dr. Abbott at some point. So then I'm questioning, like, okay, this man who we all thought he was coming to this house to get laid, maybe that was all her psychosis and she ran into her doctor and he was trying to, I don't know. It's just
The other part,
so confusing.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome if it was actually explained like that, because that would make the movie a lot better. Like
I am full of great ideas, just so Hollywood knows. I have lots in my back pocket. So many.
Let's make a fucking
So
movie better
the
than
other
this.
thing that I saw that like you could even interpret this that she never actually killed the guy because I mean I guess until the police officer looks in the bag, but
That
like,
was good too.
the distinct lack of blood after a stabbing victim, like
Did you notice that, Sydney?
Yeah.
there's like no blood and then she's like shown cleaning up the floor that has zero blood on it and it's like, could you not afford to get some fake blood on the floor or something? And he's like sitting in the bathtub after he's been murdered and it's like his shirt still isn't soaked through with blood. It's like two places. Yeah, it's a very, very cheap movie. And there's a couple times where it's like, Jesus Christ, could you try a little harder? Like when she takes off his shirt and there's
no stab wounds.
discernible stab wounds, or anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I see when you have like a low budget movie like this, it's like, is that a choice or is that a budget thing? Like, is this supposed to be communicating that, actually this isn't how the world works. So obviously it's just happening in her mind.
Yeah,
Or
this
it
is
like,
just art. This
yeah,
is just
we
art.
couldn't get the person we're renting the house from to approve us using blood on the floor. And so we just kind of had to act like it and hope that we had money in the budget to put it in post. And then they just never did.
Yeah, and I also think with like the lack of blood and stuff, obviously she did kill someone because the cop sees a body in a bag, but it would have been really cool since like the murder, there wasn't a lot of evidence to the murder if it actually didn't happen at all. And then it was like, okay, that's very clear that she's just losing her mind. And then that would have given us an whatever.
An ounce of clarity.
Yeah, like anything. Like just yeah, it really sucks because I just remember absolutely loving this movie and being like I really found a gem, but I was also 16, so that also makes a lot of sense.
I think I really liked Independence Day when I was 16 too, so
There will be no
taste
Independence
changed.
Day slander on this podcast.
I appreciate the movies I liked as a teenager in a different way now. Like I could still fully watch Face Off and appreciate it, but on a much more like over the top and what do you call it? more of a satirical level than I did when I was watching. I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. He's got 2 golden guns. That's so badass.
Speaking of satirical, Bryce described the cop, the actor that played the cop, as a Grateful Dead roadie. Like they couldn't find anyone other than a Grateful Dead roadie for this role.
Yeah, he was the most uncop-looking cop that you could have cast.
Yeah.
He had like long disheveled hair and like a
In the 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
It's like, yeah, I don't think that'd fly.
Also at the end when the cops come, and there's the woman with them who has a key to the house, so we're assuming she is a housekeeper or something like that. Why isn't she house sitting? If she's already employed, which is the implication, then what, like, and apparently I didn't stick around and watch the credits, but I just went on IMDb, and apparently there's a new girl who walks into the house during the credits, like another house sitter. So is like the implication with that like the woman who owns the house is a devil worshiper and is trying to get girls to come in the house and kill themselves, because that is set up at the beginning that like the last girl jumped off the balcony, which is an insane thing for your employer to tell you right before she leaves, that she's like, yeah, the last girl killed herself, but I don't think that'll happen to you.
Hollywood.
Yeah, I feel like if you had your employer tell you the last girl threw herself off the balcony and the first thing that you discover is an upside down cross necklace, I'd be like, maybe not. Actually, never mind. I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Also, Sydney, that is that would have been a good movie. Like,
Right?
That would have made it a better movie.
Right. Like we could have just, had another moment with the owner of the house, like doing something, like just flash to her, like doing a ritual. I don't know.
Or giggling, like takes
like,
very little.
Just a tiny, tiny little, like, there's a lot of, there's just a lot of things wrong with this movie. I think she's a good actress though. Like I think she is good. She's not in anything that I really know besides this, which sucks because I think she could be a real scream queen. I think
she was in Jug Face, which is a poster that I've seen before.
I've never heard of that.
I thought her acting was great too. And that's usually the first thing I'll say is when an actor's not bad, like it ruins the movie for me, even the ones that are low budget and hokey, but her acting was solid. And I thought the Henry Not Winkler
Sullivan
/ James Abbott, he was pretty good as well. Believable.
Yeah,
this is great too.
Good.
Like the other thing is she's been in. Hold on, let me go back. She's also been in 2019's Darlin'. She's been in 2 movies basically called Darling, which is...
There are so many movies with the name Darling. It is like crazy. It is impossible to find this movie, honestly, but it's on Tubi, so I guess it's not impossible, but like, it's just annoying. And I just like... I'm just pissed because I really was like, this movie is so good, and then I watched it last night. I'm like, fuck.
And it was so not.
It's just not.
It's okay. Honestly, I'm probably gonna watch Darlin' this weekend because it looks pretty up my alley. So maybe that's the next one you all do.
What's it about?
It says. It's
a direct sequel to 2011's The Woman. That's the only thing it...
Oh, I didn't see anything about The Woman, but it's a third standalone part of a trilogy. Where did it go? I just saw the...
Okay, found at a Catholic hospital, filthy and ferocious feral teenager Darlin is whisked off to a care home run by the bishop and his obedient nuns, where she's to be rehabilitated into a good girl as an example of the miraculous work of the church.
Brian Batt is in it.
It's a social issue horror film.
Mm.
You know I love a social issue. Get me in there.
And also the director is also in the movie. The director, Pollyanna McIntosh. Interesting.
Yeah, the fact that this is a guy director on Darling,
Yeah.
just it puts a different view on like the scenes of her in the shower. It's like, yeah, did those serve a purpose at all other than the director being like, I would like to have this scene in it?
It was so stupid. Like, it didn't make any sense. I was like, we don't need to see her naked ever. Like,
Yeah.
ever. There's no point. Also, Jordyn, you mentioned the slip. Do you want to talk about her slip?
Oh, she's wearing a slip.
Yeah.
Did you ever wear a slip as a kid, Sydney?
I never, no.
No. Okay. So for folks that don't know, a long time ago, anytime a woman wore a dress or a skirt or whatever, they wore a slip with it, which like made sure that you can't see any lines, kind of a modesty tool. And in the great enshittification of everything that is produced in today's society, you don't see slips anymore. I haven't been able to find one. I was looking for one a while back, and they're really hard to find. And if you do find one, you're going to pay out the ears for it if it is going to be made of a quality material. Yeah, so that was just interesting to me. Like, she was wearing a slip walking through the hallway, and I was like, God, I would love to have that.
Right.
I wonder where they got that slip, because
I didn't realize it was that hard to find slips. Like,
everything's like polyester now instead of
Yeah.
like a good silk. Like, it's all made of plastic instead of a decent.
I mean, all clothes are made of plastic now, though. Like,
Not the stuff I.
But like the thing is that now people wear slip dresses. That's in style. So it's like there are dresses that are like you're supposed to wear as a dress, but it is a slip. And I remember I was like shopping a few months ago, and I went into the store and I found a slip dress, and I was like, this looks so cute. I'm going to try it on. I tried it on and I was like, I look naked. I look fucking naked in this. Like, cause it's a slip dress. It's supposed to go underneath. I mean, they don't make them to go underneath anymore, but like that is what the original intended purpose of it is. And I like showing skin, but like I was like, this is like real, like it's really thin. It's really like where am I gonna wear this? Like where would I wear? And it's not marketed as lingerie. I was not in a lingerie store. Like I was in a dress shop, and I was like, this is insane. Like it's insane.
Frustrating.
Yeah.
All we want is a good slip.
Yeah, seriously. If any listeners have any links to good slips, maybe at like thrift stores, probably you could probably find
Thrift
some good
stores.
ones.
I don't know, maybe like in more conservative areas where go shop at some trad wife stores. I'm sure they've got some slips
The more
in there. I'm thinking like all the Mormon shopping center, because like those are the only women that I can think are wearing dresses and skirts on a regular basis.
they're wearing
week.
their garments. Like
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
they don't wear slips.
Mom talk
Well,
is just
still
never
wear
going to
slips, though.
survive this.
They're never
Sorry,
gonna.
I'm doing Mormon talk without Max here.
I know, you
I
can't
don't
do
have
that.
my backup.
Haha, you're outnumbered. All right, let's wrap up this movie. She looks in the door at the end. The cops come. They see that she killed someone. They don't even try to find her. She goes to the balcony. She smiles and she jumps off. And then, according to IMDb, during the end credits, a new girl comes in. So we don't know what happened in this movie. Did she go crazy? Did she get assaulted? Did she really kill that guy? Maybe. Was it a different guy? Maybe. Did she go crazy because of the devil? Maybe. Did she go crazy because she's crazy? Maybe. I don't know. And that is what this movie is about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a student film ending, like having the movie end with a suicide.
Yeah.
I remember having a friend in high school that was probably one of the most pretentious people that I've known in my life. And he wrote a play for his senior project, and it ended with the main character committing suicide, and he thought that was the edgiest, coolest thing in the world. I'm like, of course you do.
Well, what was this guy's name? Mickey Keating?
Yeah.
We got a lot of questions, and number one is, how dare you?
We probably could have. We should have emailed him or something. I should have done my due diligence and gotten him on here, and we could have. We could have really
Defend
ripped
yourself.
him. Yeah,
Yeah.
ripped him apart. Final recommendations: if you are 16 years old, you will think this is the craziest movie of all time. Honestly, like if you were me when you were 16 and you were just on Tumblr and it was the early 2010s. Yeah, you would have fucking loved this movie. But now there are a lot better movies that you could watch that have the same vibe, especially just watch horror movies from the 60s and 70s. They're just good quality ones. Like, you got to go that route, honestly.
Totally.
Okay, should we hop into horror movie horrors?
Let's do it.
Where is my... Oh, here we go. Horror movie horrors. This is when we check our voicemail.
Woo!
Okay. So for context, Jordyn, Sydney is currently single. And we've mentioned that on the podcast.
They love to talk about it.
It's probably opened the floodgates to... There's already been one person that's professed his love for Sydney in the past, but it was too late because she had a new boyfriend by the time. But, I mean...
He hasn't called again, so I hope he's okay. CJ, I hope you're okay.
Yeah. So you're saying there's a chance. All right. Here's, I think we got several from Buffalo Bill.
Hey guys, it's Buffalo Bill. Just calling in to submit my request to join the dating pool or dating show, whatever you guys are doing for Sydney. Yeah, it'd be nice if I could just have a chance. If not, I'll take second place with Bryce. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Max, you and I need to play a game of chess. Bye.
Okay. Well, Jordyn, Bryce honestly has teased us doing an HMT Bachelorette type show on somewhere on a Patreon or something. We have not done anything to put that into production or anything, but we have made a lot of jokes about it. So that is what he is referring to.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Are you on the dating apps, Sydney?
I don't think I'll ever download one of those again. Honestly.
So smart.
Like I haven't been on them in 2.5 years, and I think I'm gonna keep it that way. Like that is just I was in a couple of relationships, but like I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
I get it. I totally get it.
Disgusting.
I got tricked into getting a fiance. No, I'm kidding. Actually an angel.
Well, that's the only way we do it. We need to trick you guys.
Yep.
Until you realize it's too late. Okay, so Buffalo Bill has a part 2 with his actual audition for the Bachelor show.
Great.
Let's see.
This is part 2 of Buffalo Bill's audition tape for the dating show for Sydney's affection. I guess I should give some info about me. I grew up watching horror. Roger Corman trauma films were the ones I watched the most growing up, which introduced me to horror. And now I love everything horror. Romantic horror movies, thriller horror movies. I just like it all. Not a fan of long walks on the beach because walking is overrated. Sometimes I watch some videos that include anime, but it's mostly horror. And the truth is I'm just looking for a friend. I just need a friend. Someone who's attractive, funny, smart, and isn't Max. So I guess that would be Sydney. Yeah. So, there's my audition tape. I hope you guys enjoy it. Take care. Much love.
He needs a friend who is attractive. That is
Yeah,
the funniest
it's,
fucking thing I've ever heard.
Criteria 1, attractive. I mean, I like all my friends, but I wish they could be a little more attractive, just to be honest. Like,
It's so good.
Buffalo Bill. You know, I mean, I'm not even the one dating, but I'm sorry to say, your chances are not good. It's pretty. We've learned that you like horror movies.
We know that.
And that you have a air of desperation, which is not the number one attractor. I'm assuming for Sydney.
Also, I love walking. Walking is not overrated. Love to walk. Do it every day.
Would like to continue walking.
Yeah, that's, something that's a requirement, honestly.
Okay, let's see. Here's another one.
Hey, everybody. It's Michael from Central Virginia. Again, calling about a super old episode now, but the Terminator episode. Bryce, when you and David were talking about Kyle Reese and how he, the whole weird time loop with him and Sarah Connor and John and all that stuff, I think the way I always took it was, I think there's a very small, almost just like throwaway scene when they're in the bunker and Kyle Reese is shown with like a Polaroid of Sarah. And I think it's actually the Polaroid that's taken in Terminator 2, when they're at,
Yep.
Well, maybe it's not either. Or no, it's the Polaroid that's taken at the end of the movie. That's what it is, by the kid. And he wants like some money for it after he takes it. Anyway, he's got that Polaroid and he's kind of like looking at it almost longingly. And so then when she asks him if he's got a girlfriend, he's like, no, never. I always took that to mean like he had feelings for her before he even went back in time, like before he was even sent back. And like maybe that was why he was chosen for the mission, because John knew he'd get the job done, right? Like he knew he was good to go. So anyway, that was just my 2 cents on that. Hope y'all are doing good. We were finally getting rain down here. It's been like 6 weeks with no rain, so it's been like 3 or 4 days in a row with rain. It's been awesome. So hopefully everybody's doing well, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.
Dude, I hope the rain was okay, because y'all got a fucking hurricane. Shit, man. That's scary.
Yeah, that was sent September 25th. So if I could go back in time like a Terminator, I would save you from the torrential downpour that's coming for you. Yeah, that's a kind of an interesting take that like that John would be like, you know who I need to send back in time? The guy that wants to fuck my mom. Like that's definitely the right choice. There's this guy obsessed with this Polaroid that I showed him of my mom a while ago. It's like, that guy's the man for the job.
I have a hard time. It's been years since I watched Terminator 1, but I watched Terminator 2 multiple times a year. It is my favorite movie of all time. Mm-hmm. Did you pick that voicemail for this on purpose, Bryce?
I did not.
That's
weird because it's been a while since we did Terminator.
Like, I love Terminator so much that one of my best friends made this for me, and yeah, I appreciate talking about this. Now I got to go watch the first film and, check out that Polaroid theory.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of implied in Terminator 1 that, yeah, he's basically remained celibate because he has this obsession with Sarah Connor, which to me it isn't believable in the least, but I mean, it's all to wrap it around of like, this is destined. This is what will happen. But yeah. Okay. Next caller.
Real quick. How are you all feeling in terms of AI and the Terminator lore? Like, can we just quick tangent.
I'm going to be so honest. I've never seen the Terminator movies.
Sydney, you have to.
Oh, honey.
My
Like
stepmom
ASAP.
loves them. My stepmom talks about them all the time, and I just have never, like, I've never seen that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, Terminator 1 is a legit good horror sci-fi. Terminator 2 is much more action.
Yeah.
I have nothing against them. I just have never seen them. Like, it's just, that's just the, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, Terminator 2 is the best action movie of all time. Like, I can't think of another, like, action movie that I would hold up against Terminator 2. It
is
so
truly the best. And I'm not even a huge action fan. I don't know if it's like nostalgia or what, but I've told you all about my granny Linda and how she got me into horror. She also got me into Steven Seagal and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
That's awesome.
So are you still a huge Steven Seagal fan?
No, I used to tell people that he was my boyfriend when I was like 2 or 3. And I don't even like recall any of the Steven Seagal films that I watched, but I remember vividly getting so heated at one of my parents' friends that came over and told me that was her boyfriend. And I was like, no. Very territorial over that man. And also Terminator, like Arnold, because Terminator 2, I had written my name all over the VHS, the small sticker that you can write on. Watched it all the time.
Oh, man. Sydney, this is such a great opportunity for you. Watch Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 and don't watch any previews for Terminator 2. Like, it is the biggest spoiled plot point of any trailer that's ever existed.
Going blind, girl.
Yeah,
Well,
just going blind.
So there used to be at Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, there used to be like a Terminator 2. It wasn't a ride. It was like a show. I don't really remember. And I remember my stepmom being like, we have to fucking do it because she just loves the movies. And we did it. And I remember just being like me and my sister were just like I was probably like 16 or something, and I was just like, I don't know what's happening, like, because I hadn't seen the movies, and my dad like was just like, he had seen the movies, but he just wasn't as excited. I just remember my stepmom being like so fucking hyped for it.
Actually, I think Skynet Day was this year.
Oh, it definitely was. I definitely saw tweets about it. Like,
it was like August 29th, not long ago.
Yeah, as far as AI and taking over the world, I'm not too worried about it, to be honest. Like, it's I view most of AI as like a really, really, really impressive party trick. But you'd have to be extremely reckless to like turn over anything of significance to AI other than just like writing responses to things.
Have you met our world leaders? Like,
yeah.
You don't think the machines will be sentient one day?
No. Well, I mean, it depends on how you define sentient. Like, if it's like convincing, I think you can make machines that are already, you can make them very convincing that they're
true
sentient.
I see where you're going.
In terms of like actual autonomy and like
ability to build killer
ability
machines,
to, alter themselves, I'm not too worried about it. It's one of those things where it's like we've had that trope in popular culture for so long that it's like everyone's so excited for it to happen that they're like acting like they're worried about it. It's like, all right, it's okay, guys. You know what we're also not going to do? Travel to another solar system. That's never going to happen either. Sorry. Like,
yeah, I agree.
You know what's never going to happen? Time travel. As much as we want it to happen, and as much as like every scientific article that talks, or every like pop culture article that talks about like the Hadron Collider is like, it can go faster than the speed of light. It's like, we're not going to time travel. Just give it up. It's not going to happen. We're not going to have faster than light travel. Just stop. And we're not going to have robots that take over the world, I don't think.
Okay. I also want to say I'm looking at the Google Voice right now. We have a voicemail from the 19th and the 22nd that we did not do last time. I remember specifically.
We didn't?
No.
Also, Sydney, sorry for that tangent.
No,
but
it's fine.
Please watch Terminator.
I will.
And report back.
I will. I know I have to watch it. Like, I know that. Like, I have to get through like that era of
In
movies.
fact, watch the entire filmography of James Cameron.
Yes.
Oh,
that's
well,
kind of,
I kind of have to. I kind of have to.
I think the only action movie that I think would go up against Terminator 2 is possibly True Lies. True Lies is the other one where it's
What
like,
about Mad Max Fury Road? That's like the best action movie I've ever seen. Like, honestly.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good. It's up there. It's not Terminator 2 quality,
It's up
but
there.
it's up there.
Okay.
I think
fair.
my only beef with Mad Max Fury Road would be, or Mad Max, whatever you just said.
Yeah.
Is like, it's basically one thing. It's basically a giant car chase. There's not
Yeah, that's why I like
much
it.
more than that. There's a lot more to Terminator 2, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back.
All right.
Hey, this message is for Sydney, baby. How you doing? You can just call me Ronald. I just wanted to let you know that I'm single too now, baby. I just got rid of my little pretty thing, you know what I'm saying? And we're no longer together. And I just wanted to know if you're single and ready to mingle. Because you know I am, baby. Give Ronald a shout back. You know where to find me. Oh, baby.
Yeah, this is the one that I listened to. Like, I just like looked at the voicemails because I wanted to show my friends CJ's voicemail, and I saw that one and it said my name, and I listened to it, and I was just like, I have no idea who that is. I don't know who that is.
Whoever that is, their Halloween costume this year is the Joker. I guarantee it.
That laugh is crazy.
Yeah, that's pretty. Ronald, I don't know what that's about, but okay, man. Gotcha.
Paints a pretty picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, friends. Stickman Crease. I wanted to talk to you guys about the Alien Romulus episode. It seems like you guys didn't really know what the fuck was going on. And neither did I. I was lost like a fucking queef in a tornado.
Nice.
Sometimes movies need like a plot synopsis or a big slimy alien pussy. Also, I just want to say there's no bad episode of Horror Movie Talk. Do I like it most when Bryce is there? Yeah, I do. I like a good ratio of bear to twink. Also, I love that Bryce has brought back burps. Love it.
I've held in 3 burps on
I
this
love you
episode.
guys. Bye.
Yeah, I mean,
That was it. I mean, I'm glad that you also didn't know what was going on, Dick Man Crease, because I feel because we've gotten so many voicemails of people being like, Max and Cindy, you fucking idiots, you didn't know any of the lore. And I have now rewatched the original Alien, and I understand the points that I got wrong, but I'm glad you also didn't know what was going on. That is validating.
Alien, the original Alien, one of the ultimate feminist films.
Yeah.
That's my hot take. Totally. Other thing that I wrote down, because I will be using it, is a queef in a tornado.
that's pretty good.
So good.
That's great. That's Midwestern as hell. I need to know where that guy's from.
I don't know what I'm always jealous of, like Southern insults. Like, I don't know where they come up with like these
crazier than a sprayed roach. Like, that's one of my favorites. I say that all the time.
That's awesome.
And it you know what? It resonates with my audience. Like, working class people know what they know exactly what I'm talking about when I say crazier than a sprayed roach. It's a good one. Add that one to your book.
Okay, this is next. Okay.
Hey, friends. With the growing popularity of horror movie talk, the meteoric surges in downloads and streams, the absolute lucrative success of Bryce's coveted horror movie talk buttons, it was only a matter of time before you three received invitations to a freak-off Diddy party. The target all along was Max. That sweet little whispering hole. Tiny little ravishable body. Son of latter-day taints. Who was sure to be covered in so much oil that entry into his turd cutter was guaranteed.
Jesus Christ!
Goodness, the diddler was captured. And his little leather Cheerio is safe. You three now have permission to continue your trajectory to fame. Love you three. Bye!
Oh my God, Max! Oh my God, we have to text him. We have to text him right now.
Oh my gosh,
that was insane.
That was from Dick Mancrease again as well.
That was. I mean, he loves Max. Canonically, he always has been like, Max, you're so hot. You're such a twink. But holy fuck, dude.
That's
was
hilarious.
Insane.
Well, it's good that we're spreading it out. You know, it's not just Sydney getting the creepiest voicemails in the world. That hope you're making note, Jordyn, for some of those other phrases. You know.
Son of Latter-day Taints.
That's
wrote that down,
time.
but that's all I'll say on that one.
The little leather Cheerios safe. Oh, okay. All right, we got two more. Oh, this is another one from Dick Mancrease, I think.
Awesome.
Well, it's me again, Dick Mancrease. I completely forgot. Regarding the Diddy freak offs that will no longer be happening because he's been apprehended. I also meant to say, Bryce, there was enough baby oil there to clap both of your big cheeks and all your chins. And Sydney, you know for a fact that CJ would have been there. But anyway, all you guys are safe now. Thanks for all you do. Love you both, or love all three of you. Bye.
Oh, God.
Yeah, just enough baby oil. I think it said like it was like 500 bottles of baby oil that they found.
And they were like gallon jugs. 1,000 gallon jugs.
They mentioned Costco as well, and I'm pretty sure someone came out and was like, yeah, we don't sell that.
Costco came back and said, don't wrap us into this.
No.
We don't do that.
Knock that shit off because
shit was from Amazon, okay?
Yeah. God. Is that accurate, Sydney? Would you be game for a Diddy freak off?
No! Sorry, I don't want to get fucking raped. Thank you.
I wouldn't want to go just because it sounds hot. Like physically hot. He just keeps the heat up.
It's just disgusting.
Make people take off their clothes.
He's a disgusting, despicable man.
If I'm going to go to an orgy, it's going to be air conditioned. I'm sorry. That's where I draw the line. Okay. Last one.
All right.
This is Bino from Richmond, Virginia, and just finished listening to the Devil's Rejects episode, and I think it was the most fun I've had listening to the pod in a while. Just making fun of all the different stereotypes of who would like the Devil's Rejects. This shit was so funny. Really random story about Captain Spaulding. So I grew up in LA, and my mom was training to be a hypnotherapist, and freaking she had her classmates come over for like I don't know, dinner or something, and freaking Sig Haig walks in my house. And I didn't know, I was pretty young at the time, but my dad was like, oh yeah, that guy's in movies. And I remember Sid looking at me and being like, yeah, I'm in some movies, not really wanting to, describe his roles. Anyways, years later, only a few years ago actually, I decided to dip my toes into that horrible trash, House of a Thousand Corpses, and I said, holy shit, that was a guy that was in my house, that Captain Spaulding. And he was the best character. He's the best part of that movie.
Yeah,
totally.
There's nothing really else redeemable. And I'm curious about Devil's Rejects just to see that part. But yeah, keep up the good work, guys, and have a good one.
I mean, that is like the coolest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, Sid Haig is a national treasure. Like, rest in peace to a real one. And yeah, he is the best part of House of a Thousand Corpses. He's also the best part of The Devil's Rejects. He has the funniest scenes. He's just such a great actor, and we really lost big time when he passed away.
Yeah, we've gotten so much response to the YouTube video for the Devil's Rejects.
We have like
episode.
40 comments on it.
We didn't. So for the record, I did not promote this episode. Like, I didn't even try because I think there was like a copyright strike or something on it.
There was, yeah.
But, like, I didn't even try to like advertise it like I have the last two episodes. And we got 41 comments, and almost all of them are like either "fuck you, it's a good movie," like, "you guys don't even know, just like you guys suck," or it's like, "that is hilarious, this movie is terrible, and that's an accurate representation of who would like this movie."
Yeah. Also, there was we got one very specific hate comment. And what was it? I responded to it. Wow, there are so many comments on here. I don't know where it was.
Yeah, there's 40 of them. It's hard to.
How do I?
While you're looking through that, I can just say that, like, first of all, you guys have a lot of fans in Virginia. I think that was the second call. Was that a same caller?
That let me see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different caller.
Interesting.
We actually got a couple comments on this video being like, "Sydney's so smart and awesome," and I was like, "I know."
Yeah.
I can't remember what you said on the episode. Did you like the movie?
I don't know. There
It
was
said,
one that said agree with Sydney on Harmony Korine, and then I responded and I said we recorded this months ago. What did I say? And then someone said Sydney was spot on. I just liked it because I was like, sure. I don't know. I think I said I liked House of a Thousand Corpses, and then the comment said nothing happens in quotes, but I watch it at work and I watch it on 1.5 times speed while gardening. Y'all are really selling this movie review podcast. I give this podcast a 2 out of 10. And I responded and I said, "Thank you for the comment. It boosts our activity."
Oh, I thought that was Max. That's such a Max reply. I assumed that was Max.
Oh no.
Yeah,
it was
I
me.
mean, granted, it's not a terrible point. We probably should pay attention to the movies.
No,
that
like,
we're
yeah,
reviewing.
that was like, I think we were double
one, Max-
episoding that week.
Max did say that he was watching at 1.5 speed while gardening, which is
We did yell at him.
wild.
We did yell at him for
We
that.
did yell at him extensively for that. That's pretty crazy.
I love how they said, though, that Sid Haig was like apprehensive to talk about like what kind of movies they are in, because that's how I am when I tell people that I was on a podcast and they're like, "Oh, which one?" And I'm like, "I'm just fucking with you. I'm just kidding. I love horror movie talk."
I know. I mean, I love horror movie talk too, but I'm apprehensive to tell people to listen to it.
See, I'm not.
Like,
I'll like literally bring it up and I'm like, "Oh, I was recording earlier." And people are like, "Recording what?" And I'm like, "My podcast. Would you like to listen to it? Here's a fucking link. Go right now." Like, I'm so like open with it. I love every aspect
No, I
of
just
it.
have to give a little qualifier, and we talked about it before we started recording about,
Yeah.
the podcast is for the bros. That's all I'll say. That's going to piss some of your fans off. But
We have more.
the baddies get it.
We have more girl listeners now that I'm on the podcast, actually, looking
love
at our
that.
analytics. And I was like, nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And our age
We're
group
much
has
more legit
lowered
now.
too. Our age group used to
Right.
be like in the 40s, and now it's lowered down to like mid 30s, like average, and in their 20s. So pretty good.
Yeah, running the podcast, like the thing that I get from the comments is you can't please
No.
anyone, because we have just as many reviews on Apple Podcasts that say like, oh, these guys are a bunch of like misogynist pieces of trash and like, right wing, whatever. And then we have reviews that say like, fuck you for hating Trump.
You stupid liberals. Like
stupid liberals. And,
but it's just so crazy because it's like, I wouldn't be on this podcast or be friends with you guys if you were misogynistic. Like that's like the thing is like,
Bryce, you gotta, have you ever mentioned on the pod the whole situation? I think you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
we don't have to say who it was, but
I think I might have talked about it.
Oh, at work, at your work thing where you, you did talk about it. I remember that very specifically when it happened.
And Bryce, you gotta tell it.
So one of the clients basically asked to switch out SEO managers because they kind of offhandedly mentioned that I can't even remember how it was told to me was like, oh, they said that you were being sexist with them or something like that, or it was basically like said that they didn't like me because I didn't seem to respect their managers and their projection is like there might be a bit of sexism problem there. And then I listened to like the call that it actually was, and it's more like positing, than saying that, but pretty wild. And I'm of course like very paranoid about that. And it's like not something that you just tell your employee like, oh, by the way, we're going to take you off because the client said something about sexism. You're like,
what the fuck?
What did they say? Like, what the fuck did I say? Like, I'm pretty sure I would have known, or I would have like.
I had your back in that, Bryce, and I said, I guarantee these folks listen to Bryce's podcast. That's where this is coming from. It's projection because we had clients together, and I was like, wait, they said that about Bryce? What?
Yeah, I mean, see, now you've got me super paranoid about it because I'm currently unemployed and applying places. I've definitely like removed the specific mention of horror movie talk. I've said like on LinkedIn, I said that I'm a podcaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the thing is like, I don't think, I'm sure if you could clip something and put it in front of me, there's probably some things that I'd be embarrassed that I said. Mm-hmm. But I don't think can think of anything that I'm ashamed that I said in the podcast that I don't think could be anything offensive. Like I'm sure was said in the name of comedy at the very least.
Nuance is a thing.
Yeah,
nuance is a thing.
And yeah, I don't know. I get it. It's very much it started out very much as a bro podcast. I'm not trying to like
a long way.
become, woke or make it into a not fun, lighthearted and, slightly challenging podcast. But like, I hear when people make comments, like I don't want to offend people. But some people are they infer a lot from a word.
That's what it is.
Like they're like, everyone's looking for like, what type of person is this? How can I categorize this person in my binary worldview? And then if you mention something at all that you can get categorized in that, then you're one of those, you're one of the others, And yeah, the world is full of nuance and differing opinions and differing spectrums of thought on things. So
take it from this bitch from Missouri. Like, it's a spectrum. It's all a spectrum. Right. We're doing our best.
And like, honestly, like as a non-TERF, because I am not a TERF in the slightest, Bryce is a very good friend and a very good man and not a misogynist or a sexist or anything like that at all. So like that's the thing is like this podcast is for fun. Like we're not actually like, I mean, sometimes we are reviewing movies. We do have commentary about movies and about tropes in movies and stuff. And we, you know, like we're amateur film critics. We say what we want, but like they're like, we want to be funny.
Here's the thing.
It's generally pretty wild to me that someone is a fan of horror movies and is clutching their pearls about
bingo
stuff that we say on a horror movie review podcast. It's like you're a fan of a genre that almost exclusively is about offensive things.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Totally. And the other thing I want to say here is like Bryce is the type of person that if I came to him and was like, dude, you said this, it was really fucked up, and I want you to know how it made me feel. Bryce is never going to say something like that again because he gives a shit about people, and we're adults and we can have a conversation about nuance. So that's one thing I appreciate about Bryce.
Exactly.
I just for the record, I love women. Like I respect women. I've got binders full of women.
Get out of here with that Mitt Romney shit.
Classic.
Mormons. Joking.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, now the left is saying like, oh man, could we have Mitt back, please? Can we have someone that at least hasn't like raped multiple women?
Jesus Christ.
Anyways.
All right.
Oh no, I said something political. Now we're gonna get comments about.
Oh no. Ooh. Spooky.
Everything's political.
Yeah. Everything
All right,
is.
let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to this wonderful episode. Don't forget to call 682-253-4468 because we have no more voicemail, so you have to call. Also, I did want to thank new patrons. We have Unkrum, thank you so much. And then we have Victoria P, who is a returning patron. Thank you so much for your patronage, you guys. That was the only two that we've had this past week.
I think, I'll just mention in case we didn't have in previous, Joshua, Brenna L, Christian S, anyone that joins, even if it's just a free member, we appreciate you.
Just do what you can, and we love you for it, and we love all of our listeners. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Good day, sir. Good day, sir. You lose. You get nothing. Is that a raincoat? Yes, it is.
Just took a stroll through the scraggly woods.
He had no face. Horror.
Wow, that didn't sound good.